Hey guys, so here's the notes for 10.6. We're going to be talking about expected value. So the formula we're going to use to find expected value is P1 V1 plus P2 V2 plus ... Now what does P represent? Well, P is going to be the probability of your event, while V is going to represent the value. So the idea is that you're going to have certain events, and there could be numerous of them, just depending. And there's going to be a value to that event plus the probability. So you're going to multiply that probability and value for each event to get your expected value. Now let's talk about what is expected value. Well, it's the average expected outcome of an event. It's the average value of a random event over a large number of experiments. So what does this really mean? Well, basically you're just trying to figure out what's going to happen. What's the likelihood of something occurring, okay, on average, okay? So we can deal with this a lot with gaming. The idea is that with a game, for a game, it maps out game outcomes for winning amounts. It represents expected average winnings of the game. So let's say you're playing a game. You're really choosing, am I going to gain or am I going to lose? Now, this could be points, it could be money, or something else. So when you're figuring out expected value, you're seeing, am I going to gain money, or am I going to lose money? Or am I going to gain points or lose points? Now, you can also use this to make decisions, okay? It's a very ideal way to make decisions because you can incorporate risk and figure out and quantify it. Basically, you're balancing out the good and bad decisions, okay? So let's go ahead and do the first one. It says you are playing a game with a spinner that has 6 equal-sized sectors. 2 sectors are blue, the rest are red. If you spin blue, you get 2 points, and if you spin red, you lose a point. What is the expected value of the game? Okay, so what we need to do is find the probabilities first. So we have 2 events here. We have blue and we have red. So let's find the probability of blue. I'm going to write it with blue so we don't get confused with the colors. Okay. So remember, to find probability, we need to know how many blues there are total. There's 2. And how many sectors out of all of this. There's 6. Now make sure you do simplify your fraction. We get 1/3. Okay. Now let's talk about the value of blue. So with the value of blue, do we gain or lose points? Well, we gain points. We get 2 points. So that's just going to be the number 2. Now let's find the probability of landing on red. Okay. So they said the rest are red. So we know 2 are blue and there's 6 total. That means 4 are going to be red out of the 6. Of course, let's simplify this. We get 2/3. Okay. Now let's find the value of red. Notice here it says when you spin on red, you lose a point. So when we talk about losing, that is going to be representing as a negative because you are decreasing. Now we're going to use our formula. We're going to multiply our probabilities with those values and add everything up. So EV, which means expected value, we do our 1/3, which is the probability of blue, times 2, which is the value of it, plus 2/3 times -1. Now, of course, you can just plug this into your calculator to get your expected value. And when you do plug it into your calculator, I'll go and show it to you here. So make sure if you're doing fractions, you use parentheses. So you're going to have 1/3 times 2. And then parentheses for the 2. And then we add it with the 2/3. Make sure that ends with a parentheses. And then don't forget -1. You have to have that or you don't get the correct expected value. We get 0. Okay. Now, what does this represent here in this game? Actually, anytime you get 0 as an expected value, that represents a fair game. that no one wins and no one loses. Okay. Now, if I had an expected value that was positive, that means I would gain amounts or gain points. However, if my expected value was negative, then I would lose points. Okay? So this is what we would call a fair game. And this also represents as saying that on average, my points will add up to 0. So if I played this over and over, basically infinity times, or how many times over for experiment, on average, I would get 0. And then the other person would also get 0. Okay? Okay, make sure you guys watch part 2 of the 10.6 note.